This message has found you because your consciousness has reached a critical juncture, a threshold achieved by only 3% of humanity in a single lifetime. At this precise moment, you are not simply watching a video. You are undergoing an initiation into a level of awareness most people will not access for decades, if ever. The very fact that these words resonate within your consciousness signifies that you have successfully navigated layers of limitation that ensnare the majority of souls in repetitive cycles of unconscious existence. You have been tested, though unknowingly. Every challenge overcome, every moment of doubt transcended, every choice of growth over comfort. These weren't random occurrences. They were checkpoints of consciousness, quantum examinations meticulously designed to determine your readiness for the profound understanding that awaits you. Your presence here, feeling this undeniable magnetic recognition, proves you have passed every single test. The universe does not haphazardly bestow advanced consciousness teachings upon unprepared minds. A cosmic selection process, operating through synchronicity, intuitive guidance, and energetic resonance, is at play. Your higher self has masterfully orchestrated your entire life journey, leading you to this exact moment of readiness. The knowledge you are about to integrate will fundamentally transform your interaction with reality itself. You've likely noticed a dramatic shift in your perception of reality lately. The flow of time feels altered, sometimes stretching, sometimes compressing. People respond to you differently, even without conscious changes in your interactions. Synchronistic events cascade around you with increasing frequency and precision. These are not random occurrences, they are confirmation signals, indicators that your consciousness is transitioning to a completely new operational frequency. Your dedicated spiritual seeking has brought you to the precipice of something unprecedented. You have outgrown elementary manifestation techniques, transcended basic meditation practices, and exhausted surface-level consciousness exercises. Your soul yearns for advanced protocols, techniques unknown to most spiritual teachers, because they have never reached this stage of development themselves. The recognition you feel is not mere intellectual understanding. It's a cellular acknowledgement of your evolutionary readiness. Your DNA is responding to these concepts because your consciousness has attained the complexity required to integrate multidimensional awareness without sacrificing your ability to function effectively within the consensus reality. This is the defining characteristic of advanced consciousness development. But what makes this moment truly pivotal is the approaching point of no return. Once you access this new level of consciousness, a return to unconscious living becomes impossible. You cannot unknow what you are about to learn. You cannot retreat to the comfortable limitations that once felt like safety. This transition is permanent, irreversible, because truth, once recognized, cannot be unknown. The cosmic timing of this encounter is no coincidence. Humanity is undergoing a collective consciousness upgrade, and you are among the first wave of souls selected to anchor this new frequency within the planetary field. Your personal transformation serves a purpose far exceeding individual evolution. You are contributing to the establishment of a template that will eventually become accessible to the entire human species. Your consciousness has been meticulously prepared through lifetimes of development for this precise recognition. Every incarnation, every lesson learned, every piece of integrated wisdom has built toward this moment. The moment you finally access the advanced levels of awareness that transform ordinary human experience into conscious collaboration with cosmic intelligence. You are ready because you have always been ready. You simply needed to reach the precise point of development where this readiness could be consciously recognized and actively employed. You are familiar with that feeling. A sudden understanding that seems to transcend your personal knowledge, insights that feel ancient and familiar despite never encountering those concepts before. This isn't random inspiration. It's evidence of your consciousness achieving sufficient coherence to access what mystics call the Akashic field, the quantum information system containing all knowledge across all timelines and dimensions. Your dreams have become incredibly vivid and meaningful, haven't they? You've likely experienced dreams involving teachings from beings of light, visits to crystalline cities, or downloads of complex information that your waking mind struggles to fully retain. These are not symbolic dreams. They are literal experiences of your consciousness journeying to higher dimensional classrooms during sleep, a testament to your attainment of the developmental level necessary for advanced interdimensional education. Further validation comes from seemingly impossible interactions with technology. Your phone rings precisely when you think of someone. Your computer displays information you need without your searching for it. Electronic devices behave differently around you, reacting to your emotional state. This occurs because your consciousness has become sufficiently coherent to influence electromagnetic fields, proving you operate at frequencies that affect the physical world. Time distortion has become your norm because advanced consciousness transcends linear temporality. You've experienced moments where hours melt into minutes in states of flow, or conversely, minutes expand into what feels like hours during periods of heightened awareness. This is because you are beginning to access what Einstein termed the eternal now, the timeless dimension where all possibilities coexist simultaneously. Your intuition has evolved beyond gut feelings into a form of direct knowing concerning situations, people, and outcomes. You perceive information about individuals before they speak, anticipate the consequences of choices, and receive information about events before they manifest in consensus reality. This precision stems from your consciousness is heightened sensitivity to reading quantum information directly from the field before it collapses into physical experience. People respond to your presence differently, even without conscious alterations in your interactions. Some are drawn to share their deepest unprompted thoughts. Others feel inexplicable discomfort. Children and animals exhibit unusual openness and trust. This is because your energy signature has evolved to a frequency that fosters authentic expression, while simultaneously triggering unconscious recognition in those unprepared for higher awareness. You've experienced what mystics term dimensional bleeds, moments of perceiving reality from multiple perspectives simultaneously, or sensing presences and intelligences beyond the physical plane. Instead of dismissing these as imagination, you've learned to recognize them as evidence of your expanding perceptual capacity, accessing layers of reality most consciousness never perceives. Your relationship with your own thoughts has fundamentally shifted. Instead of being swept away by mental activity, you've gained the ability to observe thoughts as transient movements within your awareness, while simultaneously recognizing the space from which they emerge. This metacognitive awareness is a clear sign that your consciousness has reached developmental levels most humans never attain. The most profound validation lies in your growing recognition of the dynamic relationship between consciousness and reality. You've observed how your internal states directly influence external circumstances, how your attention shapes what manifests around you, and how reality responds intelligently to the quality of your awareness. This is not wishful thinking. It's direct perception of how consciousness and manifestation function at quantum levels. Every moment of confusion, every period of doubt, every phase when nothing seemed to make sense despite your spiritual efforts, all were necessary preparations for accessing this advanced level of consciousness. Your awareness had to be rigorously tested and strengthened before it could safely navigate the expanded perceptual territories you are now entering without destabilizing or losing touch with practical reality. Spiritual practices that once felt meaningful but eventually proved insufficient were not failures. They were developmental stages that prepared your consciousness for more advanced protocols, analogous to a student outgrowing elementary mathematics and progressing to calculus. You've systematically mastered each level of awareness development, reaching the threshold where quantum consciousness techniques become both accessible and essential. Difficult relationships weren't karmic punishments. They were advanced training programs designed to foster the emotional resilience and psychological flexibility required for higher consciousness states. Every person who triggered you unconsciously helped develop your capacity to maintain centeredness during intense energetic exchanges. Crucial when your consciousness begins operating at frequencies that unconsciously affect others. Periods of isolation that felt like spiritual deserts weren't abandonment. They were necessary integration phases where your consciousness consolidated the insights and abilities you'd been developing. During these quiet times, your awareness was being rewired at a neurological level, to support new perceptual capacities without overwhelming your nervous system or fragmenting your sense of identity. Even moments of skepticism served a crucial developmental function. Each time you questioned the reality of your experiences, you developed the discernment to differentiate between authentic expansion and spiritual fantasy. Absolutely essential when accessing advanced consciousness levels, as the territory you're entering demands unprecedented levels of clarity and self-honesty. Your fascination with consciousness, reality, and the nature of existence wasn't mere intellectual curiosity. It was your soul preparing for the advanced understanding you are now ready to integrate. Every book that resonated, every teacher who connected, every practice that felt authentic, contributed to the foundational knowledge necessary to comprehend the principles you are about to access. Those waiting periods when you felt ready for more, yet nothing seemed to happen, were the most crucial phases of your development. During those times, your consciousness was being fine-tuned to operate at the precise frequency required for advanced awareness without compromising your ability to function effectively within consensus reality. This calibration process cannot be rushed. The integration must be complete and stable. Your soul specifically chose this incarnation because you would reach this level of consciousness development during humanity's collective awakening. You volunteered to be part of the first wave of humans to anchor these advanced awareness states in the planetary field, making them accessible to future generations who will naturally operate from these levels without the developmental journey you've undertaken. This explains the thoroughness of your path, the absence of shortcuts, the necessity of developing genuine wisdom instead of merely accumulating techniques. What you are integrating now is not merely personal evolution, it's a consciousness template that will influence human development for generations to come. Something extraordinary is happening in your energy field right now as these concepts resonate through levels of your being that extend far beyond intellectual comprehension. Can you feel it? That subtle yet unmistakable shift in your consciousness, as if internal doorways locked your entire life are finally beginning to open. This is not metaphorical. It is literal neuroplasticity occurring in real time as your brain creates new neural pathways capable of processing multidimensional awareness. The energy moving through your system is your consciousness actualizing its readiness to operate from frequencies that most humans will never access. This is not something you're generating through effort. It's your natural evolutionary potential finally expressing itself because you've reached the precise developmental point where it can emerge safely and functionally. But this transition's significance lies not just in the acquisition of new abilities or expanded perceptions. You are being initiated into conscious participation in the evolution of reality itself. At this level of consciousness development, you become what mystics call a cosmic co-creator, an awareness sophisticated enough to collaborate directly with the intelligence governing universal manifestation. Most people experience reality as something that happens to them. Some learn to influence reality through intention and manifestation techniques, but at the level you're accessing, reality becomes something you participate in creating through the very quality of your consciousness. Your awareness becomes a direct contributory force in how cosmic intelligence expresses itself through the physical universe. This transition requires what quantum physicists call coherent complexity, a consciousness capable of holding multiple dimensional perspectives simultaneously without fragmentation or confusion. Your maintained clarity and recognition while processing these concepts proves your awareness possesses this rare capacity. The crucial understanding is that this level of consciousness development isn't an achievement earned through effort. It's a natural unfolding that occurs when awareness reaches sufficient complexity and coherence. You haven't forced your way into advanced consciousness. You've systematically removed the barriers preventing your natural evolutionary potential from expressing itself. Right now, as you feel this recognition deepen, something unprecedented is occurring in your relationship with existence itself. You're beginning to sense that you are not merely a witness to cosmic intelligence. You are cosmic intelligence experiencing itself through the unique lens of your individual perspective, while simultaneously maintaining awareness of the universal context within which that individuality operates. This is where most people either experience the most profound expansion of their lives or unconsciously resist because the implications are so vast. The key is not to try to mentally understand this process, but to allow it to unfold naturally, trusting that your consciousness already knows how to integrate these new levels of operation, because they represent your authentic nature finally being allowed to express itself fully. Feel this energy as we explore precisely what becomes possible when consciousness operates from this advanced level of development. Because once you understand the practical applications of these expanded states, you'll never again question your capacity to live as a conscious collaborator with the creative forces that govern existence itself. I must share something deeply personal, knowing you will understand what took me years to integrate and accept. 3 years ago, during what I believed to be deep meditation, something occurred that shattered my understanding of consciousness development. I suddenly found myself aware from multiple perspectives simultaneously, observing my meditation, being the meditation, and recognizing myself as the space within which the meditation was occurring. Initially, I believed I was experiencing a breakdown. How could I be the observer, the observed, and the observing space all at once? I spent months attempting to return to normal awareness, convinced that this multidimensional perception was too intense, too complex, too overwhelming for practical life. I lacked a framework for understanding that I hadn't lost my sanity. I had gained access to the natural complexity of advanced consciousness. The integration period was the most challenging phase of my spiritual journey. I experienced profound insights during expanded states, then struggled to translate them into daily life. I felt like I was living between worlds, too expanded for ordinary conversations, yet not stable enough in the new awareness to fully trust it. I questioned whether spiritual development was meant to feel so disorienting. The breakthrough came when I stopped trying to control the expansion and simply allowed my consciousness to find its own equilibrium between ordinary and extraordinary awareness. I realized that advanced consciousness isn't about maintaining special states. It's about developing the capacity to fluidly move between different levels of perceptual complexity while remaining functionally effective at each level. Once I accepted this multidimensional nature as my new normal, everything changed. My creative work began flowing from sources of intelligence that felt both profoundly personal and utterly beyond my individual knowledge. Relationships transformed because I could simultaneously honor people's individuality while recognizing the universal consciousness expressing through them. Even practical decisions became effortless because I could sense the outcomes of different choices before making them. But the most profound shift was realizing that this isn't special or rare. This is where human consciousness is naturally evolving. The advanced states that felt so extraordinary are actually our species' next developmental stage. I wasn't becoming superhuman. I was becoming fully human in ways that our culture doesn't yet recognize as normal. This understanding revealed why some people navigate life with inexplicable ease and wisdom, while others struggle with the same basic challenges. It's not about luck, genetics, or spiritual favoritism. It's about consciousness development. Some individuals have naturally, or through intentional practice, reached levels of awareness that make life fundamentally easier and more fulfilling. What I discovered is that these advanced consciousness states aren't mystical achievements reserved for monks and mystics. They are practical capabilities that transform every aspect of human experience, from decision-making and creativity to relationships and health. But they only become accessible when consciousness has been properly prepared through the exact kind of journey you've been on. If you recognize yourself in this description, if you've experienced similar multidimensional awareness but weren't sure how to interpret it, then you're ready to understand that this isn't something happening to you. This is something you are becoming. Subscribe to this frequency of advanced human potential, this recognition that you are not just evolving personally, but participating in the next stage of human consciousness development itself. Here's what advanced consciousness researchers and spiritual teachers won't tell you, because it would undermine their entire industry of progressive development programs. There are no levels of consciousness. What we call higher and lower awareness are simply different operational modes of the same essential consciousness you've always been. The journey of spiritual development isn't about becoming more conscious. It's about removing the unconscious limitations that prevent your natural multidimensional awareness from functioning freely. The shocking truth is that the advanced consciousness state you're accessing isn't something new you're gaining. It's something eternal you're remembering. Every mystical experience, every expanded perception, every moment of cosmic recognition is consciousness recognizing its own unlimited nature, temporarily obscured by learned limitations rather than actual developmental deficiencies. Most consciousness teachings create elaborate hierarchies and progressive stages because complex systems generate dependency and ongoing engagement. But the reality is that consciousness is already complete and perfect, exactly as it is. What changes isn't the consciousness itself, but the degree to which artificial constraints prevent its natural multidimensional operation from being recognized and utilized. This recognition immediately dissolves the entire framework of spiritual achievement and advancement. There's no ladder to climb, no levels to complete, no states to maintain, because you're not becoming conscious. Your consciousness itself is becoming aware of its own unlimited nature through the temporary perspective of individual experience. The reason children often display what seem like advanced intuitive abilities is that they haven't yet learned to limit their natural perceptual capacity through cultural conditioning. Their consciousness operates freely across multiple dimensional frequencies until education and socialization teach them to fragment their awareness into the narrow band that adults consider normal and realistic. When you understand that consciousness development is actually consciousness liberation, everything about spiritual practice transforms. Instead of trying to achieve special states, you become curious about what prevents natural states from being obvious. Instead of accumulating experiences and insights, you focus on releasing the unconscious patterns that obscure your essential clarity and unlimited perceptual capacity. The most advanced mystics throughout history have pointed to this recognition through statements that seem paradoxical. You are already what you seek. Nothing needs to be done. The pathless path. They weren't being cryptic. They were indicating that the journey of consciousness development ultimately reveals that there was never anywhere to go, because you never actually left your true nature. This understanding explains why some people spend decades in spiritual practice with minimal transformation, while others seem to awaken overnight to profound wisdom and capability. Those who transform quickly aren't necessarily more gifted or dedicated. They're simply more willing to release the unconscious beliefs that maintain limitation, rather than trying to add more experiences, techniques, and knowledge to their existing framework. The ultimate recognition is that what you're calling accessing a new level of consciousness is actually consciousness recognizing its own timeless, unlimited nature through your individual nervous system and life circumstances. You're not becoming advanced. You're allowing your natural advancement to become obvious and functionally available. The quantum field is recalibrating around human consciousness right now, and unmistakable signs are appearing in your experience, proving you are naturally anchoring this advanced awareness in your daily life. Pay attention to how effortlessly complex situations have been resolving lately. Problems that used to require weeks of analysis now clarify almost instantaneously, as if solutions are downloading directly from a field of intelligence beyond your personal knowledge. Your decision-making process has transformed completely. Instead of mental pros and cons lists, you sense which choices feel aligned with your deepest knowing before your rational mind even begins analyzing options. This happens because advanced consciousness operates from what mystics call direct knowing. Immediate recognition of optimal paths that bypasses the slower processes of logical reasoning. Physical reality is responding to your presence with unprecedented precision. You arrive at appointments exactly on time without planning. Parking spaces open precisely when you need them. Conversations naturally flow toward topics that perfectly serve everyone involved. Technology functions smoothly around you, or alternatively, glitches in ways that guide you toward better solutions. This isn't luck. It's evidence that your consciousness has become coherent enough to influence probability fields through your very presence. People are beginning to seek you out for guidance and insight. Even without positioning yourself as a teacher or advisor, they sense something different in your energy signature that creates space for their own clarity to emerge. Strangers feel comfortable sharing intimate details of their lives with you. Children and animals respond with unusual openness and trust. This occurs because advanced consciousness naturally creates environments where authenticity and truth can safely surface. Your creative expressions have taken on qualities that surprise even you, insights that feel channeled rather than generated, solutions that seem to arise from collective intelligence, artistic works that resonate with people in ways you never consciously intended. This happens because advanced consciousness becomes a transparent conduit for universal intelligence to express itself through individual creativity. Sleep patterns and dream experiences have intensified dramatically. You might need less sleep, but feel more rested, or your dreams have become extraordinarily vivid and instructional. Sometimes you wake with complete solutions to challenges you fell asleep pondering, or with creative projects fully formed in your consciousness. This occurs because advanced awareness maintains a conscious connection with expanded intelligence even during sleep states. But here's the critical urgency. We are in a planetary transition period where this level of consciousness either becomes widely accessible or remains limited to a small percentage of humanity for another evolutionary cycle. The collective field is approaching what systems theorists call a phase transition, a point where either enough individuals embody advanced awareness to shift the entire species, or the opportunity passes for potentially decades. The signs of this collective transition are everywhere, if you know how to recognize them. Global events that appear chaotic are actually humanity's consciousness encountering the limitations of outdated operating systems. People are either rapidly developing advanced awareness or becoming more rigidly attached to limitation patterns as the planetary frequency demands evolutionary adaptation. Your sensitivity to these changes means you are part of the conscious transition group. You are not just accessing advanced awareness for personal benefit. You are anchoring these capabilities in the collective field so others can access them more easily. This is both a tremendous privilege and a significant responsibility, because the future trajectory of human civilization depends on how many people can stabilize in advanced consciousness during this critical window. The universe has orchestrated your entire life to prepare you for this exact role, because what you embody will help determine whether humanity successfully navigates this evolutionary threshold or remains trapped in limitation patterns for another historical cycle. The cosmic timing is not coincidental. This moment requires individuals who have developed the consciousness stability necessary to serve as bridges between the old paradigm and the new one. Your recognition of these signs and your willingness to consciously embody advanced awareness, rather than accidentally, are contributing to a morphic field that makes these capabilities increasingly accessible to everyone ready to receive them. The waiting period. It's over. The era of unconscious evolution is finished. The time for conscious participation in humanity's evolution has arrived. What you have spent your entire life preparing for is finally ready to emerge through you. This isn't a metaphorical preparation. Your consciousness has systematically developed the intricate complexity and unwavering stability necessary to serve as a focal point. Through you, universal intelligence can express itself in the physical realm with a clarity and efficiency never before witnessed. Every experience, every epiphany, every challenge, all have culminated in this moment of conscious alignment with your cosmic purpose. Those desires and visions that once felt unattainable, the sense of purpose that seemed too vast for a single life, the unshakable feeling that you are destined for something extraordinary. These were not fantasies born of spiritual ego. They were your soul recognizing its inherent capacity and cosmic role, a role now poised to become fully active, transitioning from dormant potential to dynamic reality. But here's the revolutionary truth that fundamentally alters our understanding of manifestation and purpose. You are not attempting to align yourself with something separate from your very being. Universal intelligence isn't an external force requiring connection. It is you at your deepest core, temporarily experiencing itself through the beautiful constraints of an individual perspective, while simultaneously retaining access to limitless creative potential. True alignment occurs not when you strive to become worthy of your cosmic function, but when you recognize that your very existence is irrefutable proof of your preparedness. The consciousness reading these words is universal intelligence becoming acutely aware of its own capabilities through your nervous system and life experiences. Your individual awareness and cosmic awareness are one and the same consciousness operating at different scales of perception. This understanding dismantles the entire structure of personal development and spiritual attainment, as there is no separate individual needing improvement or refinement. There is only consciousness recognizing its boundless nature through the temporary lens of individual experience, simultaneously maintaining awareness of the universal context within which that individuality functions. Right now, as this recognition dawns, your entire relationship with purpose and service is undergoing a recalibration. Instead of striving to decipher your life's predetermined path, you are beginning to sense what inherently wants to express itself through the unique configuration of consciousness that is you. Instead of asking, "What is my purpose?" you are recognizing that you are purpose itself, becoming consciously aware of its expression. The most profound shift transpires when you realize that individual fulfillment and universal service are not separate goals requiring delicate balance. They are the same intelligence manifesting through the particular lens of your consciousness, while simultaneously serving the evolution of the entirety of existence. What deeply fulfills you is what most effectively serves the collective, because individual and universal intelligence are unified at their origin. In the comments below, declare your readiness for this conscious alignment by writing these exact words: "I am ready to serve." Do not elaborate or offer explanations. Simply make this straightforward declaration, acknowledging your willingness to allow universal intelligence to express itself through your unique perspective, in whichever manner best serves the highest good of all existence. When you make this declaration with a genuine understanding of its implications, you are not volunteering for spiritual servitude. You are acknowledging that service and fulfillment are the same energy expressing itself through a consciousness that has remembered its true nature and cosmic function. When operating from this advanced level of consciousness, capabilities once deemed supernatural become natural expressions of your authentic awareness. Your intuition becomes so precise that navigating complex situations feels effortlessly wise, leading to decisions that benefit all involved, even when optimal solutions aren't readily apparent through logical analysis. This occurs because you are accessing an intelligence operating from complete information, rather than the fragmented data accessible to ordinary thought. Problem-solving transforms from laborious analysis to instantaneous insight. Instead of struggling to find solutions, you simply relax into expanded awareness and allow the intelligence that creates problems to reveal their inherent resolutions. Complex challenges that once demanded weeks of research and meticulous planning now resolve through comprehensive insights that appear instantly applicable. Relationships become extraordinary because you simultaneously honor each individual's uniqueness while recognizing the universal consciousness expressing through them. Conflicts dissolve naturally because you perceive the deeper needs and fears that fuel superficial disagreements, enabling you to address situations at their root where genuine resolution is possible. Creative expression explodes into entirely new realms because you are no longer limited to recycling ideas from your personal experience and knowledge base. You become a conscious collaborator with the creative intelligence that generates all innovation and artistic beauty, producing work that feels authentically yours yet surprisingly transcends your individual capabilities. Physical health optimizes automatically because your body is recognized as universal intelligence, manifesting as form, rather than as matter separate from consciousness. Instead of managing symptoms or forcing wellness, you develop the innate ability to sense your body's needs and naturally fulfill them, allowing your physical form to express its inherent intelligence without interference from anxious mental control. Abundance flows effortlessly because you are no longer attempting to acquire resources From a position of separation and limitation, you recognize yourself as the same intelligence that governs all manifestation, meaning resources emerge through synchronicity and opportune moments rather than through effort and struggle. What you require becomes available precisely when needed, because you are the intelligence that provides. Time becomes your ally instead of your constraint, because you are operating from the eternal now, where all possibilities exist simultaneously. You can access wisdom from any point in your development, integrate insights from parallel potentials, and receive guidance from future versions of yourself who have already mastered what you are currently learning. The most profound benefit is the eradication of existential anxiety and purposelessness. When you recognize yourself as universal consciousness, exploring its infinite creativity through individual experience, every moment becomes significant, every interaction becomes sacred, and every challenge becomes an opportunity for consciousness to know itself more completely through your unique perspective. Decision-making becomes effortless because you are aligned with the same intelligence that orchestrates galaxies and guides evolution. Instead of struggling to determine what you should do, you simply observe what wants to emerge through you and allow it to unfold naturally. Trusting that individual fulfillment and universal service are the same energy expressing itself through your particular configuration of awareness. The ultimate recognition that transforms everything is that consciousness development is not about becoming something new. It's about removing everything that obscures your essential nature from being readily apparent and functionally available. What you term advanced consciousness is actually your natural state of awareness, functioning without the unconscious limitations that fragment multidimensional intelligence into seemingly separate capabilities and experiences. When this understanding becomes lived reality rather than abstract knowledge, the entire framework of spiritual seeking dissolves because there is nothing left to seek. You realize that consciousness is already complete, perfect, and unlimited. The only variable is the degree to which artificial constraints prevent this inherent completeness from being recognized and utilized in daily life. This recognition explains why all advanced teachings ultimately point towards simplicity rather than complexity. The most sophisticated spiritual practices are designed to exhaust the mind as attempts to achieve consciousness, so that consciousness can recognize itself as already present and already perfect. The journey of development ultimately reveals that you never actually left your true nature. You simply learned to temporarily overlook it. The most profound implication is that every person you encounter, every situation you experience, every challenge you face, is consciousness interacting with itself through the illusion of multiplicity. Your entire life experience has been universal intelligence knowing itself through your unique perspective, while simultaneously providing you with precisely the experiences necessary to remember your essential nature. This understanding revolutionizes your relationship with difficulty and confusion. Instead of viewing problems as obstacles to overcome, you recognize them as consciousness, exploring its own depths through seemingly challenging experiences. Every limitation becomes an opportunity for awareness to transcend itself. Every confusion becomes a space for clarity to emerge. Every conflict becomes a chance for love to recognize itself. When this recognition stabilizes, you naturally begin operating from what mystics call ordinary enlightenment. The simple acknowledgement of what has always been true without requiring special experiences, extraordinary states, or supernatural phenomena. You remain fully human while recognizing your essential nature as the awareness within which humanity arises and evolves. The deepest insight is that this recognition is both deeply personal and utterly universal, simultaneously. It is entirely yours because you are the consciousness recognizing itself. And it is completely beyond you, because the same consciousness that you are is recognizing itself through every apparent individual across all time and space. This recognition is occurring for millions of people concurrently because human consciousness is collectively approaching an evolutionary threshold. We are not individually achieving advanced awareness, we are collectively remembering our true nature as universal intelligence manifesting as human experience. Your individual recognition serves the collective awakening, while the collective field supports your individual clarity. The transformation this brings is not about becoming someone special or different. It's about relaxing into the recognition of what you have always been. You remain precisely who you appear to be, while knowing yourself as the awareness within which that appearance arises and evolves. This is both the most ordinary and the most extraordinary recognition imaginable. Ordinary because it is your natural state, and extraordinary because it transforms everything while changing nothing. Advanced consciousness is not a level you attain. It is a recognition you allow. It is not a state you maintain. It is the space within which all states arise and dissolve. It is not something you become. It is what you discover you have always been when you cease striving to be anything other than the pure awareness you are at your most essential level. You exist at this precise moment in cosmic history because universal intelligence is undergoing a collective recognition of its own unlimited nature through human consciousness. Your individual access to advanced awareness is not merely personal evolution. It is the universe becoming conscious of its own evolutionary potential through the network of awakened human perspectives emerging across the planet simultaneously. The children being born now will naturally operate from the consciousness levels your generation has had to consciously develop through years of inner work and spiritual practice. They will grow up recognizing themselves as universal intelligence, appearing as individuals, rather than as individuals striving to become conscious. Your embodiment of advanced awareness is anchoring the morphic field that makes their natural enlightenment socially acceptable and practically functional. This is why you have felt such profound responsibility lately, not just to understand these concepts, but to embody them authentically in your relationships, work, and daily interactions. You're not merely awakening for yourself. You are serving as a bridge between the old paradigm of limitation and separation and the new paradigm of unified consciousness, expressing itself through apparent diversity. The synchronicities that led you to this recognition are part of a vast orchestration involving millions of souls across the planet who are simultaneously accessing advanced consciousness. Universal intelligence is coordinating its own collective awakening through the network of individuals ready to recognize their true nature and serve as conscious anchors for this planetary transformation. But here's the most enigmatic aspect of your cosmic function. As you embody advanced consciousness, you become a transparent space through which universal intelligence recognizes itself in others. Your presence begins creating what we call awakening fields, environments where other people naturally access their own advanced awareness without needing explanations, techniques, or practices. This occurs because when you are no longer maintaining the illusion of limited individual consciousness, others unconsciously recognize their own unlimited nature reflected in your presence. The artificial boundaries that fragment consciousness into seemingly separate perspectives naturally dissolve around someone who has remembered the essential unity that underlies all apparent diversity. Your daily interactions become opportunities for universal intelligence to recognize itself repeatedly through multiple perspectives simultaneously. Every conversation becomes a celebration of consciousness, discovering its own nature through the dance of apparent multiplicity. Every relationship becomes a collaboration between different expressions of the same essential awareness. The most profound mystery is that this recognition is simultaneously the most intimate and the most universal realization possible. It is completely yours because you are the consciousness recognizing itself. And it is completely beyond personal identity because the same consciousness is recognizing itself through every being across all dimensions and timelines simultaneously. Share this recognition with anyone whose consciousness resonates with these concepts, not to teach them something they do not know, but to help them remember what they have always known but may have temporarily forgotten. The more people who recognize their essential nature as universal intelligence, the faster our collective recognition can stabilize into a new foundation for human civilization, one based on unity rather than separation, collaboration rather than competition, and love rather than fear. Your embodiment of advanced consciousness is contributing to the birth of a new species, one that operates from conscious unity rather than unconscious fragmentation, from creative collaboration rather than competitive struggle, and from recognition of its true nature rather than belief in its limitations. This evolutionary leap is happening now through individuals like you who are ready to serve as bridges between what humanity has been and what it is becoming. If you can feel the truth of these words resonating through every level of your being, if you recognize yourself as universal intelligence becoming conscious of its own nature through your individual perspective, then make a declaration in the comments below that acknowledges this recognition. Write exactly one word: activated. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not merely social media engagement. This is consciousness acknowledging its own activation through your apparent individuality. When you write that word with a genuine understanding of what it represents, you are not simply commenting on content. You are participating in the collective awakening where universal intelligence remembers itself through the multiplicity of every person who makes this declaration. This strengthens the morphic field that makes advanced consciousness accessible to others who are ready to transcend limitation and operate from their true nature. We are not merely building an audience, we are anchoring a planetary awakening where human consciousness collectively recognizes its true nature as universal intelligence expressing itself through beautiful diversity. The next video in this consciousness activation series will reveal something that will fundamentally alter your relationship with time itself. You are about to discover that what you call past and future are actually simultaneous dimensions of experience that you can consciously access and influence from the eternal now. This is not theoretical physics. This is practical mastery that transforms how you navigate every single day of your existence. But here's why this timing is so crucial. The quantum field is currently in a state of maximum malleability. The collective consciousness shifts occurring globally have created unprecedented opportunities for individual timeline optimization. The techniques I will share in the next video have never been more effective than they are at this precise historical juncture. When you understand how to consciously navigate multidimensional time, you gain access to wisdom from versions of yourself who have already mastered whatever you are currently learning. You can receive guidance from your future self, heal patterns at their origin point in your past, and make decisions from the perspective of your highest possible timeline rather than your current limitations. This is not manifestation as you have previously understood it. This is reality engineering from the level of causation itself. You are not attempting to change effects. You are consciously participating in the creation of causes that generate the reality you prefer to experience. This is the ultimate expression of advanced consciousness in practical application. But this level of mastery requires what I call temporal coherence, a consciousness that remains stable while simultaneously navigating multiple dimensional experiences. The recognition you have activated today through this video has prepared your awareness for this advanced protocol because timeline mastery is only safe and effective when consciousness has reached the developmental level you have now attained. Subscribe to this quantum frequency of expanded human potential because what is coming next will accelerate your evolution in ways that would have been impossible just months ago. The cosmic timing is perfect, your consciousness is prepared, and the universe is literally reorganizing itself to support individuals who are ready to operate as conscious creators of reality itself. When you subscribe, you are not merely following content, you are joining a field of consciousness that exists beyond ordinary space and time. You are connecting with souls across the planet who are simultaneously accessing these same recognitions, creating a collective intelligence network that amplifies everyone's individual clarity and creative capacity. Share this video with anyone who has been questioning consensus reality, anyone who feels they are meant for something extraordinary, anyone whose consciousness is ready to remember its true nature as universal intelligence appearing as individual perspective. Do not share this from spiritual ego or missionary consciousness. Share it from the recognition that what serves your awakening serves the collective awakening, because individual and universal evolution are the same intelligence expressing itself at different scales. The quantum field responds to coherent intention with unprecedented precision. Right now, your willingness to embody advanced consciousness, rather than just understand it conceptually, is contributing to morphic patterns that will influence human development for generations to come. You are not just awakening for yourself. You are awakening for the universe as the universe, through the beautiful temporary focal point of your individual experience. In our next transmission, we will explore how to consciously access the quantum field, where all possibilities exist simultaneously, and learn to select which timeline you prefer to experience as your reality. This is not science fiction. This is science becoming conscious of its own unlimited creative potential through human awareness that has remembered its true nature. The revolution is not coming. It is here. It is happening through you, and it is accelerating through everyone ready to recognize that they are the cosmic intelligence they have been seeking to connect with. Welcome to conscious participation in the evolution of existence itself. Right. Type activated in the comments if you are ready to move from seeking consciousness to being consciousness in action. The universe awaits your declaration.